Shabbat Shalom. Before we've even left Egypt, before the 10th plague strikes down the firstborn Egyptians and Pharaoh's hard heart is broken, God tells Moses about Passover. That's right, Passover, our commemoration of leaving Egypt. Before we leave that narrow place, we make plans to remember it, to remember what it was like to be slaves and then to be freed. In fact, this is one of the most repeated commandments in the Torah, to remember that we were slaves and that we were freed. This week we read Parshat Bo, our last parsha as slaves in Egypt. We read about the last 3 plagues, and Pharaoh finally lets our people go. We also find God's first commandment to the Israelites. And God said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, "This month shall mark for you the beginning of the months. It shall be the first of the months of the year for you." The first commandment is to begin marking time. As the Israelites begin their freedom, they also begin their calendar. God goes on to say that on the 10th of this first month, the people should prepare a Passover sacrifice to commemorate leaving Egypt. When we have a calendar, we can mark time. We have a structure for our memory. Imagine what it must have been like to think about commemorating something as it was happening. There are moments in our lives when we know that what is happening will be remembered. These historical moments, milestones, celebrations, or tragedies go down in our history books, committed to our public memory. When they are significant enough, they even get a date on our calendar. But what do we do when the moment is not a moment, when the event stretches on through the calendar? As Passover approaches this year, we approach a year in this pandemic. How will this time be remembered? How will this story be told? I'm sure we will remember the pain of separation and isolation, and the scope of the loss in our country and in the world. But will we also remember our resilience, the joy of connecting digitally with those who are far away, and the speed of innovation required to develop a vaccine? From our position today, it is hard to imagine how we may mark this time in our future. It seems like something like eating matzah for a week won't quite cut it, but I guess only time will tell. I know one thing for sure, though. This Passover will take on a deeper meaning for me. One of the beautiful things about a calendar is that it moves in circles. We keep going round and round the more or less consistent cycle of the year, and each trip around we bring something new into the experience and get something new out of it. No matter how this time is remembered, it has certainly had an effect on us and will shape the way we move forward into the future. This week, as we remember leaving the narrowness of Egypt and stepping forward into freedom, may we find hope and strength in the knowledge that we made it through that narrow time and will make it through this one too. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will.